If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me. At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling.
I can only show you the door.
To awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
That's
The train
trippy.
can't be stopped. Time is already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling.
I can only show you the door.
To awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
That's
The train
trippy.
can't be stopped. Time is
Right?
already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling.
I can only show you the door.
To awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
That's
The train
trippy.
can't be stopped. Time is
Right?
already here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. We are about to go live with Lady.Liberty.Libby. I think you're in here now, right? Can you hear me, Libby? I wonder if there's there might be a disconnection. So thank you for everybody that's tuned in to the True Perspective, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Rumble. Just trying to get everything. Libby, can you hear me? All right. Okay. I think. Let's see. Libby, can you hear me? Can you hear me? What's going on here? Everybody that's tuned in, thank you for tuning in on the True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Rumble. Tonight we do have Lady.Liberty.Libby. We have Libby on, researcher, online content creator, does a hell of a lot of research on many of the main topics that have been, pretty much flourish in the world. All right. She says she can't see me. I don't know if that's picking up on the audio. I'm gonna try and have her come back in because I'm not sure why that's not showing up. Try coming back in. Let's see. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Oh boy. All right. I'm gonna cue some stuff up really quickly. I'm gonna go back to the intro. I do apologize, everybody out there. You know how this goes. Sometimes we go into the technical difficulties, and it seems to be one of those things again. But give me a few moments here. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to save it.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. Momentum is
Right?
already here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try this again. Thank you all for tuning into the True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble tonight. Once again, we have Lady.Liberty.Libby on. Libby, I'm pretty sure that she probably wants to be referred to as that, but I'm just doing the whole. You can find her on Instagram, Lady.Liberty.Libby. Thank you for coming on. I'm trying to cue you right on here. Here we go. There we are. There you are. See,
Okay.
you see me now, and you can hear me now, right?
Ew. Hi, Tim.
Perfect.
Thank you so
Perfect.
much. I'm so glad it worked. I was praying, and I'm so glad we did a test run. So
No, yeah. I don't know. It's probably just one of those connection things. Sometimes it gets a little bit glitchy when, I don't know, the Wi-Fi.
me,
It's all good.
it happens to me a lot. I haven't done a podcast in over a year partially because I had many technical issues every single time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you're putting out a bunch of stuff there, so I'm pretty sure out in the bandwidth world, we're all being watched at what we're saying and what we're putting out there and what we're doing. So I don't find that to be any surprise. I'm sure you don't either. That could be it. There's actually been a time where like we were talking about, I don't know. I think I was talking about, this was when during like the Biden administration or something like that, me and a friend of mine, I think John, my friend John Miner came on, and we were talking about just stuff about the campaign or whatever. And I believe I was streaming on TikTok at the time, and TikTok immediately banned me from doing like live. This was before they actually banned my main account.
Okay.
They banned me from going live for like a few weeks or something like that, just because we were talking about
On
on
TikTok?
Yeah. Like
I was
streaming
banned on TikTok twice. Like,
Yeah,
and I'm over it. And it wasn't even anything. I don't think that was worthy of that kind of ban. Like initially it was excuse me, it was two videos that I posted that were about 5G and 6G, and this was geez, probably 3 years ago. Are you still there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm still here. I just I spotlighted you, so so the camera's just paying attention to you right now.
I see. Okay.
Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
That's why I just my face all of a sudden. No, it's
If you're
okay.
not
It just you disappeared. No, I don't mind. That's
okay,
however
all
you
right.
want to do it. I just had no idea. That's all. So
Roger
you
that.
suddenly disappeared, and I never know where to look either, because when I'm just staring at myself, like, is it there? Is it there? Is it here?
Roger
It's so
that. Here we are
strange.
again.
I don't mind. It's totally fine.
I can see how that could be awkward a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I also, my eye is kind of ridiculous, but we don't have to talk too much about me. But I did want to kind of do a little bit just about me. But I will tell you, when I was TikTok, all I did was post 2 of the 5G videos that I had. This was in January of 2022. And between January and I would say probably March, April or so, I was doing a lot of really heavy research into the towers and the frequencies and the effects of that. And I did a couple of videos about it. I was very, very sick. I had a lot of pneumonia type symptoms, and they told me I had bilateral pneumonia in both my lungs at the time. So to make a long story short, I put these videos on TikTok because I was really trying to reach people. And the first time I put them on, I was banned and removed within 48 hours or something. The second time, I waited like a week or so. I put it back up again, along with the second one that I did, because there was like a part 1, part 2, part 3 of the whole, 5G thing, as I was figuring out that that's what was making me so sick. And then I was banned again for 24 hours. And then I was given like another slap where it like flagged my IP address from my phone at the time. And so I couldn't view anything. I tried to create another TikTok account like probably a year ago. I was kind of dumb, and I thought it would be a good idea. And I'm glad that the algorithm knows my phone number. So I would have to get a brand new phone number in order to try. So I literally right now, I cannot even view TikTok videos. I'm like extra banned. They won't even let me. If you send me a link to TikTok and I click on it won't open.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember, I think I had sent you something that I had posted on TikTok. I blasted out on all of the other social medias, but I think at the time it was just that link, and you were like, I can't even view it. I'm like, oh, all right. So it was, and I think you were asking like it was part of my podcast, like from a previous podcast. So that's what I was like blasting it out. So I just learned to try and make reels and all that stuff.
A little while ago.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I was trying to figure out, like, I was making them too long, and I'm trying to like condense them, and I guess people's, attention spans aren't that long or whatever. And I guess
3
that's
seconds, actually.
3 seconds.
3 seconds, and that's the reason why I do the videos the way I do. Because I'm sorry, but AI has really taken over our attention spans, as has just screwed
viciously
everything really bad. Like it's literally 3 to 6 seconds. So on average, the way that because I research everything, right? So including algorithms and stuff. And when I started looking into that, I was just looking into insights of the videos that I had done, and I was pretty surprised to see that the drop rate for me used to be after 3 to 6 seconds. Like it would just drop. People would watch and then just scroll. And so I had their attention for a minute, and then they'd be like, "We don't care." And
but
that
those,
would be,
I think that demographic also might be people are like, "Oh, what the hell is this?" So I'm just gonna keep going. Like the ones that are like oblivious to what's probably going on, most likely, or like
also that there wasn't that. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There was
no, you're good.
In the audio for a second.
No, you're good.
What were you saying though?
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's probably people that like that when they come across that type of information, they're so scared or like freaked out by it that they just they just want to get beyond it or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think most people that way when they land on my page.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, look, like
sorry.
you definitely put out a lot of good stuff, like a lot of really good stuff. And you the way that you do it too, how I like you're one of the few people that I follow that put together their videos. It's straight to the point. You cut all the fat out and then
Yeah.
you go straight to the point. And you know, I mean, sometimes there's stuff in there, I guess, like with anything, it's like, okay, you do have to do the research. Like you have to look into this. And you say this too, like, you don't even say like, hey, take my word for it. You say,
No.
take this information that I'm giving you and go and
But look at
research
it.
it. Yeah. And look
Yeah.
at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I really very firmly feel that in especially today's like information age,
Mm,
there's so much information readily available at literally our fingertips
mm-hmm,
that, when you have a question, you can have an answer within a second. All
yep.
you have to do is type it up and look it up. And
Yep.
so for a while, my husband had this joke with me just before I created the mini little documentary that I did, 2045 Look It Up. And
Mm,
that name was partially because of my husband, because he jokingly at the time, everything that would cross my mind, I would look up. Like
mm-hmm,
I just became kind of obsessed for a while of
mm-hmm,
trying to figure out what was going on. And nothing really made sense until after the night that I died.
mm,
That was when after I got back and was able to kind of get my bearings, was when things started to make it was like crystal clear. It still is for me. Like I
mm-hmm,
see the picture and I try to find the puzzle pieces to show everybody what the big picture is. And
mm,
some people see it and want to see it, and some people see it and don't want to see it. So ultimately everybody has an opinion. I have an opinion. I have lots of feelings about all the things that I
mm-hmm,
share. But I more than not, I feel like I at least try to keep my feelings out of it and to show people the hardcore evidence, because everyone has an opinion today and everyone has a feeling, and a very strong feeling. And I'm very passionate, but I'm
mm,
passionate more than anything about evidence and the truth. And especially in how all of the things that are going on that feel so, I don't know, they can really make, I feel like a lot of people that learn about the different things that are going on puts them in a really dark place really quickly. It
yeah.
did for me. And I think that's part of the thing that contributed to the Xanax use that I had
Mm,
prior to dying, because I was very sick. I had bilateral pneumonia for 5, 6 months. They were trying to tell me it was long haul COVID, and I'm a researcher and I'm putting
mm,
out videos about 5G, and I'm going to doctors and hospitals in Orange County and trying to convince them that I don't have COVID. You might see what looks like pneumonia, but I don't have that. See, that's not a thing that exists.
right.
And,
Right.
because I had done so much research, you get to a point really where I think everybody that chooses, it's definitely a choice. I don't think anybody accidentally wakes up. It's a choice that you make to go
Mm,
and search out the truth.
right.
And I feel for me at the very end of like the kind of abyss, really, so to speak, that I was in early part of 2022, for me ended with literally Jesus Christ. And that's how this ends, is with
Amen.
Jesus. And I don't think that people want to hear that solution. I didn't. Like I
Mm,
didn't. And even after I saw that and after the experience I had, um, like I don't know how long you've been following me on Instagram, but close to 3 years ago, just around 3 years ago, we ended up leaving the state of California for the second time.
yep.
Um, we
Yep.
moved into an RV. We lived in a 26-foot RV, myself, my 6-foot husband, my son, and our husky. And we traveled to the middle of God's country, America. I would rather
Nice.
not say the state yet.
Right.
And it was extremely difficult to take. I'm a city girl. I am. I have a love-hate relationship with Los Angeles completely. I think most
Mhm.
people my age do by now, because I love the city, but I hate what's happened to it and what they've done to LA. This is not the LA that I grew up in at all. The LA I grew up in was the LA from the 80s and 90s. And it was just a blessing, truly, to get to walk down Venice Beach and grow up in a city that I knew was sought after by everyone on earth to be there. You know, I got to hang out at Muscle Beach and like watch people that ended up going on to have be gigantic celebrities. And that's not something that I take lightly. And so leaving California, we took very seriously. I took very seriously. My husband's from Chicago and he moved here like 20 years ago or so. I have my whole family here. I'm a first generation American. I have dual citizenship with Israel. And so I want to put that out there. So anybody who decides to research me understands that I'm a first generation American. English was my second language. My mother took the citizenship test for her green card with the Hebrew English dictionary. And so I say those things because I don't take being here lightly at all. I don't take the freedom that I have and that my children had lightly at all. Like it's a very big deal. And I hate what the media on both sides have done when it's come to Israel and Jews. It's really awful and disgusting to me to know that because I've gotten so much hate on Instagram and then now even on Facebook, because I opened up a Facebook page recently to link to it because I do feel for myself like it's kind of time for me to take the work that I've done on Instagram, as grateful as I am for the platform and for being able to grow a teeny tiny bit over the last 3 years. It's the only account I've had. I've had like 15 of them, but the only account that has survived and grown this far. And that's not because Libby's running it. It's because God's running it. It's not me. It's not me that's figuring out all this stuff. I have really poor eyesight. I have a lot of really serious issues with my corneas. Just if people want to go look it up, we don't need to talk about it, but I have a condition called ectasia post-LASIK that I'm going to have to talk more about. I'm going to have to show some, documents and things about, because it's such a gigantic part of my life. And it deserves me to advocate for it. Like no one talks about, LASIK damage. No one talks about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and different things that I struggle with still, and how much it affects my life as a homeschooling mom of a little boy. And nobody runs this account on Instagram other than Libby. It's just me. So I try to put stuff together in a way that is really easy for people to verify themselves, because I don't want people to believe me just because I posted it on Instagram. I joke with my friends and I tell them now that I have a few friends, because for a long time I didn't. You can't really know all the things that you know and just easily make friends when you move around as much as we have over the last, 5 years. Right. And it got hard because for a while I was keeping it almost like a secret. I'd move somewhere and I wouldn't tell anybody about anything that I did online at all, and just kind of act stupid and dumb. Like I don't know what's going on. Yeah. It's all crazy. Like
I remember because I think when we were talking last time, I had mentioned that I came across you. It was basically right at gradually at the beginning, probably kind of in the middle of when COVID was starting.
2020.
Yeah, 2020. It had to have been about 2020. Definitely 2020.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I feel like I've seen your name and I've known you, and we've tried to do this several times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've communicated back and forth. I think I've commented on a lot of your things, genuinely just trying to get more information from it, whatever that you had, and then I would just dive into that more, because that's how I've always been. I would take,
I love that. I know.
Yeah. And the thing was because all of your videos are very good. Like I said, you strip it right down, right to the, you're straightforward with it. So, and then, there was some other stuff where
attention span problem.
Probably. I mean, I have so-called ADHD, but whatever. But I call it a gift. Honestly, I think it's a superpower, because the thing about it is people will say oh, you get distracted too easily. And that's, in a sense, that's true. But I'm so interested and passionate about information about scripture, or about the world, the stuff that's going on in the world, or whatever that is. I just want truth, and I have a hunger for it. So yeah, I mean, all the other stuff that you were talking about, like, the health challenges that you had gone through, and also moving from one place to another and going through that. I actually thought some of it, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it was very challenging, but I thought the whole RV thing was was actually pretty cool, you know what I'm saying? Because you're like going across, whatever, into different states, and stuff like
Yes,
that
yeah.
with your family.
We went really far.
I thought the idea was like actually really cool. And then you eventually ended up settling where you are, and you still kept up with the work. So I was like, these are people that I want to be connected to,
Yeah.
and try to get this information. And that's part of the reason why I even wanted to get into podcasting. There was a while where I was like, I don't even know if I want to do this, because like, it's you have to do this lot, and my ambition was to do it live. So you're going to see the mistakes in any of the information, but you're also going to see where the intention is too. So, and I wanted to help as much as I can to
Yeah.
get to talk to people who are actually doing the kind of great work that you're doing. And honestly, it's also a learning experience for me too. It's that's I think it's actually helped me communicate better by doing this. But I think I wanted to kind of revert back here, is like, because I think we talked about this before when we were on your Instagram, and we were live. I think I'll ask the question again, is where did you was COVID the area where you started from, or were you already like there, like you already knew like things were going on, but like
I
COVID
knew
was
things were going on.
pretty much the camel that broke how's that saying go?
The straw
camel-
that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, there you go. Was that
Let me
that
try to
moment,
change
or?
something for a sec, just because my
Sure,
eyeball is acting
you're good.
ridiculous. Is this okay? Can I do
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yep, you're
Okay.
fine. Yep,
Okay, great. I just flipped my phone a little bit because my left eye is just being ridiculous right now. So we're just
it's all
gonna.
good.
There we go. All right. So no, COVID wasn't the thing that brought me to like the internet or
Mm-hmm.
brought me to social media. No,
Mm-hmm.
not at all. What brought me to really wake up was my son and what happened with my son Jacob.
Mm.
That's what woke me up by
Mhm.
far. I've been the same person my whole life. I'm very inquisitive. I'm very distrustful. I've been I've been a victim of a lot of different traumas, but I don't use it as an excuse as to why I behave the way I do. I sought out trying to figure out, why am I behaving this way, and how can I change it, because I have such a highly attuned nervous system. And so I bring all those things up because I feel very strongly that people like me are like a dime a dozen, and get lost kind of within themselves because they're feeling so much and seeing so much and don't know what to do with it. And that was me. So I went from feeling, keep in mind, like, my name is Libby. I do not have a middle name. That's just my full name is Libby. I was born and raised in the San Fernando Valley. I spoke Hebrew first. I was in English as a second language when I was in elementary. And had my accent just like sucked out of my mouth. Like the rolling, beautiful R's, the way I spoke, because I had a very thick Israeli accent when I spoke English. Now, I was born here. I was raised here. I was not raised in Israel. You get dual citizenship when you have parents that were born and raised in Israel, and I do. And so for me, being raised in the Valley was pretty difficult. It was really rough. I was bullied severely as a little girl. I'm the oldest of four. I don't have much relationship with my siblings because I became a believer in Jesus in my early 20s, late teens, after a couple of events in my life that were could have killed me and should have killed me. And so I say jokingly now, because I've had so many bizarre things that have happened that have, almost kept me dead. That like I'm on my 9th life, like a cat now. Like this is my last life, and after this one, we're done. Like
Right.
I'm done. Like this is my last kind of mission here, and I know exactly what I'm here for now. And it's but it was really rough growing up the way that I did, and I feel like a lot of that translated and helped me become the person I am today, right? So because of the abuse, and this is what I mean, because of the abuse and the traumas that I lived through as a child, as a little girl, I developed this like highly attuned nervous system, which I confused for being an empath. I'm highly intuitive. I'm all these different, trying to make sense of like, what am I? For a while, I thought I was an alcoholic because I was actually in my previous marriage with a covert narcissist, and did not know that that's what I had attracted in the dynamic between us, right? And so all these different distrusts that I went through in my life kind of really helped me become the person that asks the questions the way that I do now. Honestly, it's the reason why I don't trust, and everything I look at kind of like, we're gonna see about that in a second. Like, I used to be the person that trusted everything, until I became the person that you have to earn my trust now. I don't just trust just because. And I don't personally feel like that's a bad way to be. I have people that tell me sometimes that I'm not nice, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to be nice. I'm kind, but I'm not nice. I don't know. I feel like ultimately for me, one of the things that really woke me up was my son, because I didn't trust the doctors. I didn't even trust what my husband was saying to me about what was going on with him. And I just kept feeling a sense in my gut that something was wrong with this kid. And what it was the shot they gave him. And it wasn't until I proved it, because that's what I do, that I was able to start to try to forgive myself and find out what I could do to help him. Because Jacob was vaccine injured. That's what happened to him. He got the MMR vaccine, and it caused him to develop excruciatingly, insanely high fevers the same day.
Yeah.
And we still deal with that today. And we've done heavy metal detoxes. The only thing I have not done with him is a parasitic detox yet. I feel like he's totally ready for it now, mentally and emotionally and physically and in every way. And that's probably something we're going to look into soon. But that was the thing that woke me up. It was finding out that the MMR shot that they gave him was full of poison. That's what it was. And it was when I went to his pediatrician's office in Burbank. I won't say the name, but in Burbank, California. And I walked in and I just told them, I said, I want the insert to the shot, to what you gave him. And they refused, and they started to they created a scene. They threatened to call security. I called their bluff. And when security came, I knew the codes to read aloud, and I knew to point to cameras and say, this is being recorded. If you don't give me what I'm requesting as the parent and like the guardian of this child, this minor that you injected with this particular, like it was a whole thing that I had to read, like write up and read, you know what I mean? And I had to go in and just be like I'm a lawyer or something. And I know what I'm talking about, and take authority and be like, this was my child. You told me this is what, give it to me. And once they gave me the insert, and just to have that kind of fight with, this wasn't that long ago. This was 7 years ago. It wasn't that long ago when this happened. It's not like I'm talking about something that happened 50 years ago or 40, you know what I mean? This just happened not that long ago. And it was because of that experience that me going with my gut and getting the insert and bringing it home and looking up every single ingredient and learning what was it, the MRCH 5 or something. It's the ordered cell line, the aluminum, all the different testing things that they put in it that is not supposed. There's no justification for those ingredients being in the human body. Zero. Like there's zero.
Yeah, they're all 100% toxic to to biological to the
Organism.
biology.
Yeah,
Mhm.
all of it. If you
Mhm.
put chemicals, those ingredients on any biological organism,
Mhm.
it will start to mutate.
Yep.
It will start to die and mutate. And
Mhm.
so to me, I started to look at science from a completely different standpoint. I started to look at it was like, if they could lie to us about these things that we were told to put in our offspring, for God's sakes,
Mhm.
what else are they lying about?
Exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
when that thought opened my mind, in like, it was like, it was like a drop in an ocean that just created ripples forever, and I couldn't
Mhm.
stop. I went down wormhole after wormhole. I could tell you about Tartaria and what I learned about the kingdom of Tartaria, about timekeeping and how they've manipulated timekeeping.
That's such
Just,
a
it's crazy,
very
right?
it's so interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know enough about it to actually get to it. I love to actually hear people talk about it because I absorb more of it, but that's one rabbit hole that I have to really
Please
look
go
at.
down. I could tell you
Yeah.
there's a great Tartaria page.
Mhm.
We follow each other too because it was something that I was really into for, as I was learning about it. Because really, if you just look into things like the World Fair, the night, I think it's
Yep.
1850s or 1880s something, 1880 something World Fair, right? The Chicago World,
Mhm.
the New York World. Go look at the World Fairs
Yeah, like they
and
would build.
go look up the old videos
Yeah,
and look
yeah,
at
yeah.
the technologies that they had and tell me that their reason for why, like, this is where it gets really nuts with these things, is when you
Mhm.
look at the reasoning as to why they created all these incredible, elaborate, insane structures for these world fairs and then tore them down.
Mhm.
Just, huh?
Right.
Really? Like,
Right.
some of the excuses and reasons and things that they even use as to, well, we can't hide that the kingdom of Tartaria existed, but the reason why this and this and this happened is, and I just sit there and I look at these things and I think, who's bought in this far and then believes that lie?
Mm.
Like, who, like, you know what I mean? It's like believe people that believe and know that all the government agencies are lying. All of them. They're all corrupt.
Oh
They're
yeah,
all
100%.
right. But then they're like, but the earth is a round ball floating through space because NASA's telling us the
Because
truth.
NASA told
And
us.
this is where I kind of am like, where did all of your logic and reasoning and sense just go? It just went out the window. This is the
Yep.
one place. So I feel like people hit walls. They hit
And
layers.
a lot of these people too are like the same ones that'll say like, "Oh yeah, the government's corrupt," but on the same hand say like, "Oh, we have to trust the science, or we have to trust what NASA gave us, or
Right. Or go vote.
how could NASA make a CGI of the world?
Yeah.
How couldn't they? You know what I'm saying? Like the moon
Very
landing is
easily.
real."
I think people just are. I think it's very easy. When I came to my husband, for me, the earth being flat was not difficult at all. When I
Mm.
kind of hit that one, I was like, oh, I knew it.
Mhm.
That was me. I was like, I freaking knew it. Because here I was on a plane 3 times before the age of 13, flying to Israel to visit family. The first thing I said, being on this gigantic plane, aircraft in the sky, which I've traveled a lot. I've been very blessed to go to Hawaii, go both oceans, like across the ocean to Hawaii several
Mm.
times, and across the ocean to Israel several times. And I've seen the same thing on across every ocean. It is vast and flat with no end in sight. And that was the thing that for me stood out as a little girl. So I would like get into arguments, with my science teacher in 5th grade because Pluto and Neptune and all the prove it. I want you to prove it. Have you seen it? If you
Right.
haven't seen it, that's where my evidence brain comes in. If I haven't seen it myself, I don't believe it.
It's a good rule of thumb. That's a good way to. I can agree with that. Like, there's some things that can be shown to you. So, like, okay, that logically maybe it makes sense, but at the end of it, there's always that little piece where it's like, well, I haven't personally seen it. I haven't been in the space station, so I can't say for sure that
Yeah.
that we live on a ball. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can only go by what.
I dug really deep into a lot of different topics from.
Mm,
I mean, the flat earth thing I needed to dig into just for myself, because then I thought, well, I can't be married to a guy who thinks that the world is a spinning ball in space. So here I am like, hey, honey, uh, do you know that the earth is flat? What do you think
right.
about that? And he's like,
Mm,
are you serious, Libby? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's flat. Like, here, let me show
mm,
you. Like, here, let's talk about it.
yeah.
And God bless them for being married to me and putting up with me for so long. But I mean, then I started reading about this is like a really big important one, is the germ versus terrain theory.
Mm,
There's
yeah.
not many people still that know the difference between the terrain theory and the
Hmm.
germ theory, and where they
Hmm.
each came from and what came from each of them.
Right.
So those are the things that I learned about, but I learned about all these things because of finding out that the MMR shot is what poisoned my son and
Hmm.
how to poison him.
Mm,
So I had to become a doctor because nobody else cared enough. I'm the mother. I cared the most. And so there's nothing I wouldn't do to try to figure out, how do I undo what we did? And in order to get his dad on board, I had to show him evidence because he's intelligent like me.
right.
And so, um, I mean, I'm really blessed in that sense that I know a lot of couples that have split up over the last 5 years. We had a lot of struggles because the devil is going to attack you at your root. And for me, with my husband, my son, like, this is my root. This is my family. We are bonded to each other. There's no, I feel like a lot of things that have happened over the last few decades have been really, like we can undo them, but I feel like it has to be done on an individual, person by person
Mm,
basis. Like, the
I have.
man has to be willing to step up and be the man. The woman
Yep.
has to be willing to be the woman. They
Mm,
both have to be willing to do their roles in the way that God described to do them in the Bible, not the way the world tells them or their friends or the
yep.
magazine. Like, it's hard for me to make friends because of that. And I'm really grateful
Yeah.
for the few friends that I've made, because I used to have friends with women that were like all about freedom and this and that, whatever. But at the same time, there was this underlaying kind of, I don't know, like, I think it's really hard for some women. It's hard for me some days to feel
Mm,
satisfied with just being a mom. I'm a
mm,
mom. That's my job.
mhm.
This is extra. I don't get paid for this. This is what I do. And I'm
Right.
okay with this. And there's times where I feel like it's not enough. I have to
Mhm.
do more. There's got to be a way I can bring in some income so that my husband's not, struggling and being burdened with just the finances. But that's not what the Bible says. And that's not how those things are supposed to really, those dynamics and relationships are supposed to really work in order for them to be healthy. Now, I'm not saying that women shouldn't work at all and make
Mhm.
money. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that men shouldn't stay home with their kids. What I feel like is that we've
Well,
strayed so
I,
far away from traditional roles
yeah.
that we've allowed the government and corporations to come in and step in, where it used to be the husband did this, the wife did
Mhm.
this. That's
Yep.
the kids did this, and that's it. The
You
family
you
took
said my
care of
exact thought
themselves.
right there. Yeah, that was my exact thought right there. That the governments and all that stuff, I mean, they purposely separated families as it is ever since like the 50s at least.
At least the 50s. I
At
mean, the
least the 50s. Yeah.
feministic, the feminism, that whole feministic movement started like
Hmm.
sometime in the 50s, and they started shaming women and making them feel like you can't just be home, you have to be
Exactly.
working. The latchkey kids, I was just talking to my husband about this because we talk about this stuff a lot. Like, the whole latchkey kid thing came from
Hmm.
the 60s. That's where it came from, was families in the 60s. But what happened in the 60s that caused, mothers and fathers to be, very intoxicated with different substances and abandon their families? Because
Mm,
it didn't really happen much in the 50s. Oh, but it did kind of, but we didn't really talk about it because it only happened in these particular families. But if
right.
it didn't happen and they didn't abandon them, there was a lot of physical abuse or domestic abuse going on. So there was all these different, when you go back and peel back layers, like, the generation I grew up in, I truly believe, right? I don't have any shame in saying I'm 44. I'll be 45 in September.
Mm-hmm.
And my generation, I truly feel like is had one of the last best childhoods because I was able to play outside.
Pre-internet.
Yeah, there was
We're
pre-internet.
pre-internet. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah.
My high school.
We're both pre-internet.
Yeah,
we're
there
both
was no
pre-internet.
cell phones.
Yeah,
there
yep.
was, and if you had a pager, you were a drug dealer.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
You
a
were
doctor.
Or a doctor. Yeah, yeah.
One or the other.
Yep.
There was no reason for you to have a pager otherwise. Why do you have
Mhm.
a pager? Like there was paging codes. But we're also the generation that was, I can't, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? I want
Mhm.
more. I want more. I want it faster and I want it now and I want to wait. It's our fault in a lot of ways because we were that generation that they marketed to. Like I remember Atari. Would we all still be happy today with Atari graphics? Probably
No,
not. Wouldn't be
probably
able
not.
to. But it was a better time because there was a lot more human to human contact. The internet took away human contact and it put it in front of a freaking screen.
Yep.
I would have had to fly out to
a
you,
barrier.
talk to you
Yeah.
in the 80s. If you wanted to interview me in the 80s, you'd have to figure out how to fly me out to you.
Yep.
You'd have to pay me something to fly me out to you. You have to get sponsored somehow. Somebody somewhere would go, we want to know what these two people would have to say if they got together. And we're going to pay them both. And now that's gone. Now there's podcasts and good luck if you're able to make an income off of trying to just get some information out.
Right.
I don't profit off of anything on Instagram other than the subscription feature that I offer. At all.
That's always been quite a challenge. I mean, and honestly, it's like not even. You said it earlier. It's like you're like how with your account, why your account is still up and all that stuff is because it's God doing that. And this is how I feel about whether I'm doing music or whether I'm doing podcasting or whether I'm trying to get a message out there. I'm leaving it in God's will. And I'm praying that I'm just carrying out the purpose that He's instilling onto me.
Right.
And that's what I feel. I feel like this is I'm compelled. I feel internally and externally and spiritually compelled to keep this conversation going, to keep these kind of conversations going.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's almost like a burden at times. Like I have to do this.
Yeah.
I may not want to, but I have to. There's times where my husband looks at me and seriously is like, Libby, it's 3:00 in the morning. Are you going to go to sleep? And I'm like, during the LA fires, that was me.
Yeah.
I didn't really sleep until I put it together because I knew every cell in my body from the moment I saw that cloud driving down the freeway, I turned to my husband. I was like, that's not a normal cloud. They're coming after LA. Like I knew it. I knew it with every fiber of my being. The fact that particular, when the Palisades fire started, it was very personal for me. My oldest boyfriend lost their house in that fire. Watching it come over the hill and almost come into my valley. Like I am a valley girl through and through. I don't care if I don't look like one. I don't care if I don't sound like one. I still do the like and the totally and the, like I'm a valley girl, but I don't look like one. I know I'm not. But when I saw that fire coming over the hill and just knowing that it was like literally threatening Ventura Boulevard, something inside of my stomach just turned in a different way where I felt like I was my personal life was being violated or something. It was really bizarre. And I prayed a lot and I fasted a lot during that time also because I knew there was something more to what was happening than what I was literally seeing everywhere I looked. Like every news source I looked into was only talking about the fire. Nobody mentioned the urbanized LA plans. No one still mentions it. And now I've gotten to a point where it's made me so angry that I decided to like officially join Moms for Liberty's LA chapter because I'm just so pissed off because I feel like they are clearly, very clearly telling us and showing us what their rezoning development plans are. That's okay. Cities
Mhm.
need to have rezoning plans, right? How come the citizens that live there don't get to vote on what you want to rezone? Because all of a sudden, a magical cloud shows up that looks like it's a monster in the sky. And
Mhm.
before we know it, there's fire that's burnt down half the damn city. And now there's a brand new bill, and now you're going to turn in a huge chunk of land in the Palisades. They're actually doing this into low income housing. And so I sit there and I look at it and I'm like, are you like, it makes me sick
Yep.
because they're literally getting away with murder,
Yep.
quite literally.
I mean, there's a, I mean, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people have been in very much denial that this sort of action can be done by, so-called DEWs,
My
direct
daughter
energy
didn't want
weapons.
to accept it
If you
as I
look
was
at, if
going.
you look at, if you look at Maui in Hawaii, look what
Yeah.
happened there. Immediately their government was already like, okay, we're going to figure out how to allocate the land in the aftermath. And
Right.
then
And they have the same thing. It's a 2050 plan.
yeah. Yeah. And in
2045,
California's
2050.
California and Oregon has been getting hit with fire, and Canada, Upper Canada,
Mhm.
on that side, on the western side, have been getting
Right.
hit with fires left and right. I mean, I don't know if, well, I'm sure you've seen it during somewhere in the area of like the peak of COVID, when
Mhm.
when it was starting to come down.
Okay.
Over here on the East Coast, we were seeing like orangey type smoke, and you could
Right.
smell
Right.
it,
Right.
and it
Yes.
was coming all, and supposedly it was coming all the way from Canada. Although there was
Right.
also chemicals that supposedly went missing too on a train. So some people
Mhm.
think that
remember
may
that.
have also been involved too.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, there's so much evidence of this stuff, and
It's not a conspiracy.
it's not a conspiracy.
No, not at
It's
all.
literally not.
When people use that word, it really aggravates me because
Oh
the
yeah.
word
Well,
conspiracy,
thankful to the CIA. I mean,
yeah.
they cued
I
that
mean,
term.
really, if you want to use the word conspiracy, the way I use it is is in this way, right? I can prove that all the people that are, and with all the evidence that they're conspiring against us.
Mm.
That's what's happening. You want to know what the conspiracy is? They're conspiring against us,
Right.
humans, simple
Right.
folk. That's what
It-
they're doing.
It's an
They're the conspiracy, not
it's
not
anti-human.
me.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
showing
Right.
you the evidence. Like I joke around with my friends and I'm like Vanna White. I just don't have the glamorous dress. I'm like, look what they're doing. Look at this.
Right. Yeah.
Look at all this.
Right. Right. And the evidence is right there, all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
and it doesn't end there. It doesn't end with like fires. It also, with the floods. I think
Mhm.
there's legitimate evidence of that. Either the weather. I mean, come on. How can
The
how can
Rainmaker.
a rising river without any rain that's within the area where that was in Texas? I forgot the actual area.
Kerrville.
What is it?
Kerrville.
Kerrville. And I saw that these people, that there was like this road, and they just were casually watching this river rise and rise and rise. There's no rain. You can't see any rain in the video. There's no wetness any
Yes,
around,
I've seen
and it
it.
just starts overtaking the road eventually.
Right. The
And I'm like,
Guadalupe.
how does that happen? Obviously,
I don't
somebody
know because I
let go of
looked
the
through.
levees or
I mean, I
whatever.
looked at the dams. I looked at the dam release dates. A few people commented on that. That video is almost at 500,000 views. I'm praying that it gets 500,000 because the algorithm does something different with it once it hits that peak.
Yeah.
I've never had a video reach 500,000.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
Once it hits that peak, it goes somewhere else in the
yeah,
matrix world. Like, I don't know.
somewhere
But
else in the ether.
yeah. But I mean, the first thing I looked at when I saw what was happening in Texas,
Mm.
really, I've been trying to make sense of a dream that I've had because I have a lot of, I wouldn't, I don't know. I use words very carefully in terms of, when I talk about certain things, the spiritual, especially. And so
100%.
I can very much say that I have dreams that end up happening in real life.
Mm.
It's a gift, but also a curse.
Mhm.
And it's hard sometimes to tell the difference between what's reality when I initially wake up at times, especially if I am dumb enough to go just grab my phone instantly because I have to just let my brain snap out of dreams and things. But I say this because, like, prior to COVID happening, right, one of the things that I was researching at the time, I was in the health community on the internet. So
Yep.
that's really what brought me to the internet was Jacob and all that stuff that was going on with him with the shot, everything I learned about that. But then initially, what really brought me to create social media is like I had a YouTube channel at one point. I was on Twitter before it was, turned into X, and then I got banned from that too. And
You got banned from
my
X?
Facebook, I got banned from X.
Well, like before Elon took over or after?
After.
Wow. Amazing.
Because I posted about him. He's a schmusk, okay?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of shadiness behind him and his mother too. I think his mother is like a complete occultist.
She is.
Yeah.
He's a Freemason. I haven't found records of it with him. I found records with Trump. I found records with Biden. I posted them. I haven't found records to prove
yes. You
found
sent me
those
some.
things.
Yeah,
I
you
found
sent me
those
something
things.
on
I
Trump
posted them.
yeah, it's him in the Freemasonry garb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I remember that. I remember you posting it.
A lot of
I remember
people
you
have
sending
seen
it to me.
it.
Also, be quick,
Totally looked up.
because you reminded me of Acts 2:16. This is probably one of my favorite. Hey, buddy. Hi. My son just came in. So Acts 2:17,
Mm-hmm.
and when you were saying about the dreams, so how this goes is, and it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. You saying hi, buddy? He said hi.
Hi. That's so sweet.
He's such a sweetheart. Where's mommy? Go see mommy. Go see mommy. Forgot to lock my door. But yeah, so that you just reminded me of that. That's like one of my favorite, because those having dreams and stuff like that, and having like these, I don't know what they are. I guess they're premonitions or prophetic visions, if you will. That's one of my favorite verses out of Acts 2:17. If you ever get a chance to read it, yeah, so that sparked my memory on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's something I guess I had my whole life, and I didn't really know what to do with it. I still kind of don't know what to do with it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. Really, the biggest thing I've done is pray. Like, because there's not a whole lot more I can do when it comes to certain things other than pray and just give it to God and know that God's will is going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Libby can't really do anything. Libby can find some proof of some stuff on this realm and show the humans, this is what's happening right now. You don't have to like it. You don't have to accept it, I suppose, if you don't want to. But this is what's happening because here's the evidence of it. So if you want to argue with the person with the evidence. I'm just the messenger. I'm not the one that created the evidence. And sometimes people get really upset at me for like sharing stuff where I'm like, what are we supposed to do about this? Pray?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. If I had the solution, I would probably be a millionaire and not struggling to pay rent. Like,
I think that's honestly,
I mean?
I think that's the best answer, to get closer to Creator and pray and be connected to people who know what's going on and have a sense of what's going on, and pray. Prayer
is very, very, very extremely powerful.
I believe that. Yes.
And I think there's some people that don't access it and use it as a tool as often as I really pray a lot, but I don't pray the way that I think conventional people think that prayer is. People think I'm talking to myself. My husband will be like, who are you talking to? God, I'm not talking to you. Like, are you talking out loud? Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm quiet. Like, I'm speaking to myself, it sounds like. But I'm speaking to God because I need to do it that way. I don't care if it looks like I'm crazy. I'm not walking down the street at the grocery store doing it, but like in my home, right? And when I'm taking my dog for a walk or doing whatever, it's helped me keep that real connection. So it doesn't feel and start to feel like it's
that personal relationship,
some mystical faraway thing that I can't access or that only exists if I'm at church on Sunday or something. Like, I was never a church person. That's not really me. I was never really a Bible person. That wasn't really me. But now we read the Bible every night with our son. We do. We're almost finished with Revelation. And then we'll get to go back into Kings, pick up where we left off. We left off in 2 Kings and took a break because it was getting really violent and gruesome. And our son was kind of mimicking some of that stuff. And we had to take a break for a while and let him grow up a little. And now we can go back after we've, it's been 6-7 months, whatever. we were camping this past weekend, and God bless everybody we were camping with. But I also realized that I don't want to be in the presence of that type of excessive behavior anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not from a I'm better than you place, from a I don't have to live like that place.
Mm.
I don't have to do that.
Mm.
I don't need to act like that. I don't need to dress like that. I don't need that anymore.
Right.
I needed it at one point. I did. I didn't know how to live. Like, I didn't. Even leading up literally to me dying. I had an SVT attack and a benzo withdrawal grand mal seizure the same night.
Mm.
I had Keppra injected into me 5 times May 19th, just so I wouldn't have another attack. This was May 19th of 2022. What I experienced that night, and what I heard, and what I saw, and what I was told is what I have done since I've been back here. That's all I know. Whether it makes sense to everyone or not, isn't for me to say or judge or really feel much about, to be honest. Like, I've had weird dreams like that my entire life. I knew that the Northridge earthquake was coming 3 days before it came. And thank God that my mother finally listened to me the night before it hit and let me pack emergency bags, because we were able to feed our neighbors because I packed bags. And did it make sense to my mom and dad why I was 14 and yelling and anxious for 3 days that there's going to be an earthquake? No, you don't understand. We're going to have a really bad earthquake. Now I can't sleep, and I'm in the corner crying because I don't know how to make sense of what I'm seeing in my head. But
Right.
I feel it, and I don't know why, but I do. Right. And so thank God is all I can say, that my mom let me, and I had what I had, because our townhouse was red flagged within 3 days and we had to leave. And with 4 little kids in the middle of, like, the valley was a chaotic nightmare. If you lived here during that time, you know, like, the freeways broke. It was crazy.
Yeah.
No, but it's something that comes and goes too. So it's not something that happens to me constantly. I, for a long time, didn't really have many dreams, didn't really have premonitions, whatever. I just lived my damn life. You know what I mean? Like, as best as I could. I had a crazy injury, June 18th. No, June 21st of 2018. That's what it was. I almost forgot it. It was quite life altering. I was at a concert with my oldest daughter in a mosh pit, and a woman that was crowd surfing got thrown and landed on top of my head. And I ended up with a lot of health issues, and that was what brought me online initially. So the door was open with my son and what he went through, which was also around the same time. And I just found myself bedridden for over 6 months when he was just over a year old. And it was really hard. It was really awful. It was really, it really devastated me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I couldn't walk. I couldn't sit. I couldn't do anything for a long time. But I was able to, because of God, like, really, God was able to continuously show me, like, what to read and look up and look for. And because I wasn't getting any answers from doctors, they were misdiagnosing me and practically killing me with their drugs and treatments and whatnot. And so that's the kind of stuff I was talking about online, was female pelvic pain. And I was advocating for awareness and trying to change policies at hospitals. And I get very passionate and like, you can do it, Libby. Like, just keep going. And people around me were like, you think you can change the world? I'm like, well, I'm probably going to die trying. I probably can't, but I'll probably die trying.
Yeah.
But I was talking to UCLA and CSUN UCLA and Cedars-Sinai, trying to figure out how to change policies. And that was really right around the time that COVID was brewing. And I was getting out of bed. Like, I just was coming back to life and moving and, you know, things. And then I had a dream for like 3 months that the earth was empty and vacant. There was no people, there was no movement. And I felt really scared and lonely. and just sad when I woke up from this particular dream.
Mm.
And after about 3 months of having the same dream over and it kept getting more and more intense and clearer and more frequent. And I finally realized that it was the first time that it happened to me since the Northridge earthquake, really. Not to say I didn't feel insight with, my kids or husband or whatever, but this was very different. This was obviously God was warning me of something. So I ended up telling my family. And that was the beginning. I sat down and I told my husband and my daughters. It was probably in, I don't know, like February of 2020.
Mm.
They looked at me like I was nuts. My husband works in the entertainment industry, which has taken a huge, huge hit because of all the AI stuff. So he's actually been out of work as just a rigger. Not even like it's already gone through the actors and writers and everything. And
Yeah.
and so at the time they thought I was nuts because I'm like, something's coming. And because I researched a lot into health online, I had seen the coronavirus thing in China, Wuhan stuff in like October, November of 2019. And I remembered it, like it stuck in my mind along with this dream that I kept having around the same time. And so by February, March, I finally was like, they're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to have to say something now because God was too much just like a boulder on my neck, really.
Mm.
And so I finally sat them down and told them, and they just laughed at me and told me I was nuts and really, it's okay. I'm not upset at all about it, but I understand because it's a really crazy thing to hear your wife suddenly, your mom suddenly come to you. And I was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but the world is going to shut down. And they were like, what do you mean the world's going to shut down? I'm like, the world's going to close. I don't know. Everything's going to be closed. Everything closed. You won't be able to go to school. You won't be able to go to work. What do you mean I can't go to work? Like, it's Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't shut down. They're going to. You'll want to go, but you won't be able to. But it's okay. We're going to play games inside the house. We'll watch some movies. Give me a little bit. We'll figure out what's going on. And I'll get back to you. Like, that's kind of how I left them. And they just looked at me like, Mom's nuts. Something's going on here. And obviously within weeks, I don't know, whatever it was, 2 weeks, a month, everything shut down. And to make a long story short, my daughters moved in with their dad. I was very devastated. So was my husband. And then we left the state for the first time later that year for a couple of months. And it did not work out well. And we came back and we lived in Southern California. And during that time was when I was living in Huntington Beach. And that was probably soon after was when you probably came across my page because I changed everything. I started going more towards, all the freedom and just exposing things as I was finding them. But my accounts kept being removed like over and over and over. And I would just get so insanely upset. And at one point, I just got so mad that I deleted my YouTube. I didn't even know monetize. I wasn't thinking about that stuff. I was just trying to get information out,
Right.
And I deleted everything. And for some reason, there was like 2 accounts left on Instagram, which is the one that I have now. And then there was the backup one. And I just remember once the towers were put up and I realized that I was like 150 feet away from a tower. And it just the timing of how everything happened for me. It was like, we got back to California. We got settled back in. My husband was back at work. We were like, fine, we're not leaving the state. We're staying here. And then I started getting really sick. I just started getting really, really, really sick. And
yeah, I remember that when people were like kind of mocking the idea that 5G wasn't affecting, the human body or anything like that. And when those things started to actually go up, because they've been putting them up for quite a long time now. They just hadn't turned them on. They hadn't transitioned the the Wi-Fi signal over.
No.
And when they did, first of all, you started seeing a lot of birds dying, a lot of, and I'm not laughing at that, but I'm just laughing at the insanity behind it. Is that you start seeing bees dying around these things and birds dropping out. Trees. Yep. Trees. And then there's evidence of people actually complaining to their city hall. I think there's one in Philadelphia. There's a whole bunch of them. I think there's one in California somewhere,
there's
county.
One in California. There's one in North Carolina.
I remember
Virginia. I think it's Virginia or West Virginia. Sorry.
Yep. I remember watching a man.
In California.
Yeah, California, all over California.
There's a county in California, I forget which one it is, up in North Central or something, California, that had the towers removed. And people do the same thing. We all really could. The company that owns the towers is a law firm. I'm not going to say the name of it. I could send it to you. But it's a gigantic, enormously powerful law firm. That's who owns the rights to all the towers. And they created contracts with the federal government to erect these towers in 2019. Now, at the time, this is what pisses off a lot of people that are Trumpers, is that, and it pissed me off because, well, I should say it this way. When I found out that, because I was a Trumper for a while too, I didn't know any better. I also, was a QAnon person for a minute until I researched deeper into that and was like, this is a hoax. This is exactly the same thing that happened with the Bolshevik. Like during that time, during the Bolshevik War, they had the exact same thing. It was something extremely similar. I forget the name of the operation now at this. I've posted about it and talked about it, I'm sure. If not, then I should a little bit more. But it was the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing, basically, that they did with that. And as I was learning about all these things, and when I started looking into the 5G more, was when I found the Trump stuff with it. And I was mortified. I was so angry when I found out that he was the one that signed the EOs. He was the one that signed up the U.S. On a federal level with this law firm to erect these towers for us to compete. I mean, a lot of people hear this are like, well, what do you want us to do? I want us to go backwards into the 80s. That's what I want. I don't want the technology. I don't want you to hear me now or yesterday, or I don't want you to. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. We changed our minds. Never mind. I don't want to be heard here. I want my privacy. Like I remember when Verizon had that commercial that was going on, and it was like in the late 90s, early 2000s or something.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? He's out in the middle of nowhere in the desert. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Good. Like everybody was ecstatic about it. We had no idea what they were doing. Now I look back and I'm like, I could smack my own self in the face back then. You don't want anyone to hear you. Like, don't say that. Like, you don't need signal out. You came out here to be alone, remember? You don't need to have signal out in the middle of nowhere. You need to have survival supplies or don't go out into the middle of nowhere. How about that? Like, back to the way things were when they made more sense, I feel like, really. But I know that that's not going to happen. What other solution is there? This is why it all comes down to it being prophetic, in my opinion. Because if there was a way that we could stop this, we would have. I really believe that. I really believe that if we could have stopped this somehow by now, when people say, like, we the people and, we're going to do it. And I mean, God, I really understand. That was me before I had a heart attack, for God's sakes. I would dress up in all black with a yellow Star David that said, I do not comply. And I would go to board meetings and I don't know. I was so desperate to be heard, taken seriously. I would come in with like stacks of like the stuff that you see me post about, would print them out and I would bring it in and be like, I'd like to submit this to the court. And they'd go, you don't have standing. And I'd be like, excuse me. I'd have to like figure out what all these different things meant and how I was supposed to be heard.
Well, they create those barriers so that you can't. They create these barriers and these languages and so-called rules and laws and policies so that when you actually present some type of evidence, it's like, oh, you have no standing here. You're just a citizen, which is enough to actually be
Right.
like, hey, look, I'm concerned about this stuff, and I may not be the only one if you look at this, and this.
Right.
And that's how they create this barrier. This is all why they want to control speech online, and why they want to control speech on when you're actually doing the footwork right in front of them. Like, I've seen so
Right.
many town hall meetings where people are standing up and they're talking about very wild things, but they're not so wild things when they have evidence backing it. And you see the whatever, the board meeting politicians or whoever that's controlling and organizing these things. They're like, okay, your time's up, or you're out of order, or
They did that to me. They turned
next
my
person.
mic
Yeah.
multiple times. I would stand outside with my son, like we all did. And it was fun. It's not like it wasn't fun. It was enjoyable. It was great to be around patriots and Americans and people that love freedom and liberty truly and understand. People get my name mixed up often. They think that the Lady Liberty part is the Statue of Liberty. No, it's not. In
Right.
reference to the Statue of Liberty. Are you kidding? Yes, I know what the Statue of Liberty is. Yes, I know where it came from. Yes, I know all the things about it. Like, people tell me these things about it. I'm like, if you think that I went and looked up the C40 city site and I don't know about this, I would be some kind of dummy. I just feel like, I guess. But it's the word. The definition of liberty is actually freedom. It's more than freedom. It's I get to choose. You don't get to tell me.
Autonomy.
It's
Complete
you don't
autonomy.
get to tell me anything, what to do or not do. You're not my God. You don't get to say anything to me. The only rules I have to follow is to pay taxes and breathe. Actually, there's nothing else. Like, die. There's nothing. And that's why I took on the name Liberty. Plus, kids at school when I was younger and they would bully me would call me Libby Liberty. And I just thought it was one of the names that kind of stuck with me this time around. But I feel very much that today, at least, one of the biggest issues I feel like is the rise of AI. Just like I felt like it was 3 years ago. Like, I was legitimately afraid that this was going to take off and people were going to love it, and it really has. And it's heartbreaking for me to watch how many people homeschool even and use AI because they think it's a great idea to ask ChatGPT questions and get help from it. And I'm like, you have no idea what you're doing. Musk himself literally said that AI is summoning the demon. Those were the words that the man used. Was that AI is summoning the demon. And then there's people like one of the leaders, what's his name? Kirkwell, right? He's one of the leaders of the whole transhumanistic movement. And Dimitri, whatever, he's in the documentary that I made on 2045, which is all about the transhumanistic movement. One of the biggest things I want to say, because I want it to really resonate with people, is that the 2030 agenda, the Agenda 2030 that a lot of people that are awake have come to understand and know about, the 17 Sustainable Goals does not have AI in it. There's no AI language. If you read the 17 Sustainable Goals, the only AI language that you're really going to read about is infrastructure, sustainability. Those are like the words, authentication. I want to make a post with like words that people are going to have to learn in the next 5 years because they're going to be new words that are going to be part of their like vocabulary. It's going to have to be because it's going to be in everywhere that you try to go to in terms of tech and stuff, because they're creating all these different artificial intelligent infrastructures with the 17 Sustainable Goals. The 17 Sustainable Goals exist in order for them to create the framework so that they can plug in Agenda 2045, quite literally. That's what they're doing. And if you read things like, I know some of my friends follow Sabrina Wallace, and I really like her work because she talks a lot about the wireless, the WeBand, the wireless body antenna, and the way that they're using the human energy field and our electrical system in our body to harvest our data, and how they're doing it and uploading it to the cloud so that it can feed more AI And so the AI can continue to grow. Well, that's already reached a point where Musk himself has said, and other, AI talking heads, like the CEO of NVIDIA, the NVIDIA chip,
Yep.
what's his name? Sam Altman. I can't
Sam
say
Altman. Yep.
him also, right? He's like, they have fed. So understand that it's barely been a few years since they've created these LLM learning models, right? These language learning models. It's only been, I think, a year now since they've had agents, AI agents, they call them, right? Now they have humanoid bots, like humanoid robots, right? That look like humans, they sound like humans. And now they they are in the process of literally uploading Grok, the latest Grok 4 software, which is it's an AI software, ChatGPT, right? It's a software program. They're going to upload that into the newest humanoid robot. I want us to all understand and be on the same boat here. They're uploading software into a humanoid robot, and they are literally creating the hosts from Westworld. It sounds completely nuts, but if you go and you look up HBO's Westworld and you just look up a little bit of HBO's Westworld, I used to watch a lot of TV. I don't anymore. The last thing me and my husband watched was a documentary on what was his name? The Ultimate Warrior. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I watch in terms of TV these days, because I don't want to watch all the poison that's out there anymore. I just don't even really care. It doesn't seem there's any good shows anymore. That show we watched years ago, we watched Westworld, and I recalled it really well when I came back from the whole death thing and
Are those the
started
things with
piecing
the?
together.
They almost look like they're like.
They look like humans. They look exactly like humans, but they're robots. They're
Got it.
robots. But they look just like humans. So
Yep.
they already, I want everybody to understand, they already have artificial skin. They have artificial skin. They have,
Yeah, we're gonna
they
have a bunch
already
of
have
Arnold
the
Schwarzeneggers coming around with like the T-800s and all that stuff. The T-1000s, Terminator.
Yeah.
Terminator's actually becoming alive. Yeah.
They really do. That's what they have. I mean, it's not even a sci-fi thing anymore at all. It's not something I was talking about 3 years ago and almost in like a frenzy trying to get people to believe me that this is what they were putting together. And I know I wasn't the only one. And I know I was like late to the party. I understand all that. But I still felt and still feel really burdened and compelled to let people know the Palisades fire was planned. That was not an accident. That was a plan. And I found the city plans. They're called Urbanized LA. That's the plan for Los Angeles. Like, every major city at this point has a infrastructure upgrade plan. You can't have an infrastructure upgrade plan for an entire city, entire town, a zip code, 2-3 block radius. If you go and you look at that area right now, it's like, but there's already house. Are they demolishing it? What's gonna happen? How are they gonna rebuild it? Are they just gonna sell it? Nobody really stops to think about those things. I almost feel like I sometimes wonder what the point is of me doing some of the things I do, because I couldn't stop anything from happening. So, okay, I figured out that the Palisades fire and the Urbanized LA, and look, the weather modification I took actual video of the cloud that was formed because of the weather modification, activities in the area. There's not really any other way to put it. I mean, if you can't basically look at all these different things and go 1 + 1 + 1 = 3, like, this is what this equals. I don't know what the point is sometimes of even doing it, because I couldn't stop any of it from happening. I'm genuinely concerned today about Venice, California, because it's part of the Urbanized LA plans. And come 2028, LA is slotted for the Olympics. And I can't even imagine. I hope God decides to sweep us away somewhere, still near the beach maybe, but not in LA, because I can't imagine traffic and just life could look like leading up to the Olympics in 2028 here. Like, I just have a bad feeling in my gut about it. And I mean, it's really hard, I think, for some people to accept that something like what happened in Texas was premeditated. Um, I think if more people just accept it, then we can move on, and
Mm.
maybe we could actually try to put an end to some of those things. But I don't feel like it's going um, to happen with just stuff online. Like there's not enough people doing anything with legislation to even try to put in preventable, measures to
Yeah,
prevent
there's
things from occurring. As it is, Trump just completely removed any AI regulations. Like, just doesn't. It none of it makes sense. It's crazy making in when you actually look at it all and see what's happening with it. But he still has a fan base that thinks that he's like a little, demigod.
right.
Israel, a lot of the higher Orthodox in Israel think that he's like the Messiah.
Hmm.
He could very well be the damn Antichrist if he
Hmm.
gets all the countries in the Middle East to sign the Abraham Shield Plan, which is just the repackaged Abraham Accords.
Yep.
So, is he the false prophet? Is he the actual Antichrist? All these different things, I don't know at all. Could he be? It sure does look like it to me, just from what I've read and what I know about the Bible. And I'm not like a scholar, I'm just Libby. But I mean, the Antichrist is a person that gets a peace treaty for 7 years signed by all these different countries.
Hmm.
The countries themselves, like, we're actually going through Revelation, and now I just feel like I have to dissect it and try to figure out like what countries and what this and what that. But I don't need to figure those things out. I just need to pray for God's will to be done and for more people to wake up and see the answer to all this nonsense is Jesus. I'm
Of
calm
course.
because
Yeah.
I know that that's how it ends. If we live another 40 years, there's a good chance that we could be raptured. There
Mm.
really is, with how fast all the things are heading
Well, we're
and
in the
going.
we're in the quickening right now. Like there's so many people that are waking up to Christ. Like there's been this new thing because I wanted to actually bring this up too because you had mentioned and I think I knew this too that you were a resident of Israel. You have a dual citizenship of Israel, and when you had mentioned Christ, I was like, well, how to, because I'm very much familiar with the uh, with the Jewish religion.
Mhm.
Although I don't know all the practices and all that stuff, but I have a best friend who is. So I have this conversation with him all the time, like off air, sometimes on air if he comes on. But and how is that dynamic by? Because I've heard this term Messianic Jew.
Mhm.
It's like a brand
Yeah.
new. I know that's actually it's been around for a long time, but
Been around for a really long time.
over the past few years, it's something that I've actually come across. I'm like, what does that mean, Messianic Jew?
Mhm.
Um, and I'm seeing more. I'm seeing I'm seeing more of that becoming more like people becoming more awake to Christ, becoming more awake to atheists that are coming more towards Christ.
Mhm.
People who wouldn't even people who even myself, like many years ago, I was like, okay, yeah, okay, Jesus was a man, and I would kind of almost like dismiss that part of like there can't be any divinity in that. I can't find any divinity in flesh and bone.
Right.
But then things had to be revealed to me in order to get to that point, and I think God's hand was always on me. It was just a matter of time of when I was going to get there to accept certain things, and the truth had to be revealed to me as truth has to be revealed to everybody else. And I think you said in the beginning too, it is a choice on whether or not you want to be awake. It's either you want to stay asleep or you choose to be to find the truth. And a lot of the truth is in the world, but a lot of that truth is also in scripture and what Christ has came here to do. And he succeeded in doing that. And he's supposed to come back and you know, clarify all of this stuff that's going on, and every knee shall bend and every head will bow that he is Lord.
Mhm.
And
We were
so
just going
even
over that in church today.
yeah, so even for the enemy that is upon us, and they too will have to confess
Mhm.
that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Even us. So the judgment is on all of us. But I'm optimistic. And the reason why I'm optimistic is knowing that. And even though it's still important that, as many people have to be reached as possible, even if it's just one, like, how Christ comes for Christ comes for the one out of the 99.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like, that's how I see when I see people doing, the stuff that you do, by putting information out there about whether it be artificial intelligence, whether it be weather weapons on floods or fires, and I see a bunch of people out there, but we are such a fraction compared to the vastness of whatever this enemy that we face, that we're up against. And although that it seems like it almost seems like it's impossible, or that our fight in all of this is, it almost seems like, is it even worth fighting something like this? And it most certainly is, because you can see how you can see how God's moving in a lot of people's lives. You can see how God's moving in your life, or how God's moving in my life, and how God's moving in the next person's life. And from this conversation alone, it may just spark the brain of somebody else that,
Right.
start snapping into the truth. And it's like, okay, I got to look into this. I have to dive into this. I have to understand what this means. And maybe this is anyway, to get to where I wanted to go here was, how is it where, when you're looking into like what does it mean to be a Messianic Jew? Because some people out there probably don't even know what that means.
But that's good.
What's that?
I totally accept. I
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
that a lot of people don't know what the term means.
Yeah.
I'm happy to explain from what I understand about it and what I know. I mean, Jesus was Jewish. He was born Jewish. That's his lineage. That's the religion that he was born into. There was no Christianity. Christ is Christianity, right? So for me, I suppose, because I can just only speak for myself, right? I visited a few Messianic temples. They're basically, it's like a cross between being in a traditional Jewish synagogue, but there's different types of Jewish synagogues. There's Hasidic Orthodox, right? The Hasidic Orthodox are the ones that are to in their minds, right? And really, I've been around a lot of them. There's a lot of them in my own family. They are following every single law in Leviticus. This is how they live their lives. They live their lives under the law. I tried to live my life under the law because I was born Jewish. I was born with dietary laws. We kept kosher in my house, very strict kosher, from dairy to meat. We didn't mix those things. The first time I had a cheeseburger, I was a teenager. I was like 16, 17 the first time I had bacon, because we didn't eat those things growing up, because they were deemed to be unclean as per rabbinical and biblical and Leviticus law. So that's what we went based off of, right? I always felt like there was something more, because I'm a book reader. So my first addiction was stories and books. I read the Bible as a little girl, the Old Testament, and I felt like I read half of a story. And I was searching for the other half of the story. And by the time I was an older teenager, I was like, met my ex-husband. I was 16, 17. We read the Bible and did things. And I had some experiences in life that, thank God, led me to Jesus. It was either I go this way and die, or I go to Jesus. I think my husband just got home, so we might move into the bedroom for a minute. But so for me, it was, I had to do it on my own. There was my family, when I went to them after reading the New Testament, after accepting Christ, after finding and believing that Jesus Christ is the Messiah prophesied in the Old Testament, that my mother is still waiting for. She's still waiting for the Messiah. He came. It's Jesus. She doesn't know that. A lot of Jews don't. A lot of Jews do. And the Jews that do are called Messianic Jews, because they believe in the Messiah as Jesus Christ, right? So that's where the term Messianic Jew comes from. Here, can we take a break for just a second? Can you
Sure,
break?
sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'll just talk to the crowd for a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in to The True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble, and X, and Instagram. Although it's not live on Instagram, but it is live on X, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook currently, and we're live with Libby, Lady.Liberty.Libby. And we've just been having a really good conversation about a lot of things, about the floods that have happened pretty much across the country right now. Also the fires that have happened pretty much across the country, like mostly on the West Coast for sure. There's been a couple actually last year, 2 years ago. There was a couple on the East Coast out my way actually. But yeah, look, we're facing a lot of incredible things, and what a time to be alive to witness it and to be a part of it. And although a lot of these things seem to be very like dire and almost hopeless, it's not, because there is a lot of work that we can do. There is a lot of things that we are able to communicate, especially with the privilege of being able to do this right now. It's a great privilege to do that. There's a lot of countries out there. There's a lot of places in the world where they're just left in the dark, completely in the dark, and they're fending for themselves. So in a sense, they're already themselves experiencing what we would call Armageddon, or what we would call, the apocalypse. But then again, I think there's levels to it also. I mean, because no land and nowhere that we're within, there's no way of running from it, and nor should you. But that's just my opinion on that. I think Libby, set back up. You set back up?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Let me get you back on here. Spotlight in. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're talking about Messianic Judaism and all that stuff.
Yes.
So I think for me, I was involved in the Messianic movement for a minute. Really, I kind of checked it out and was like, I think I was still coming out of a lot of the legalism that I felt growing up, and so it just didn't really resonate much with me. Let me just close this a little bit. Yeah, I guess it didn't really resonate too much for me, and I just decided, oh, that's super dark now, and you can't see me. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just in my bedroom first. But so, I don't know. I think for me, ultimately, it comes down to Jesus. Really, Jesus was Jewish. He was born Jewish. He died the Jewish Savior, and I don't say that in any kind of I don't know, derogatory or like better than you or any kind of weird way. I just say it as factual. Like, Jesus Christ was Jewish, and he came for the Jew and then the Gentile. Now, what that means, though, is that once you are a believer, so I was Jewish, right? I was born Jewish. I will die Jewish. But I believe that Jesus Christ is my Savior. And that makes me and you spiritually brother and sister, because you believe that Jesus is the Savior, and you were a Gentile, I'm assuming, not born Jewish. That's
Correct.
all that means. Yeah. People have taken words, some people have taken words, and the propaganda that has been created because of the words has just been absurd. The fact that there's so many people, I've literally lost friends, people that I did podcasts with 3 years ago, that I couldn't talk to anymore because they started to act like a Nazi. And I mean that in the most loving way. When you are speaking to somebody Jewish and you are discounting what happened in our history with our people because of research that you did that leads you to believe it didn't occur, you are never going to find a Jewish human who is going to tell you, yes, I believe that the Holocaust was a lie. It wasn't. I think there was a lot of lies surrounding it, just like every other type of catastrophe, or, the Armenian genocide occurred. It was a thing that happened. People want to call what's happening in Gaza genocide. They can. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. What bothers me the most, I think, about any of this is that I have been kind of put to this corner by some people where it's like we won't even listen to you or hear anything you have to say because you're Jewish. And to me, or Christians, full on Christians that say that they believe in Jesus Christ, they believe in all these things. They're full believers, and yet they curse Israel, they curse the Jews, and that is not biblical. There is no scripture that I would plead with anyone who show me a scripture in the Bible where God says that he is abandoning Israel, abandoning the Jewish people. That's not scriptural, and it's just not biblical. And I stick to the Bible, not because I'm Jewish, because it doesn't matter. I'm a believer in Christ. That's all that matters now. It doesn't matter what I was born as in that sense of the word, right?
Right.
So I feel like people want to put blame, and they want to kind of, they're so angry about things that are going on, right? That they need to blame. They need to blame. Somebody needs to be accountable, and somebody needs to pay for this. And I feel like right now we're going to move back to the couch.
Okay.
And I feel like right now it's just really easy for like the internet, almost in a sense, to just blame. We're going to blame the Jews. It's just all the Jews. It's all the Jews. If that's true and all the Jews have all the power, I shouldn't be living in the ghetto, like not able to pay my rent. Like that shouldn't be a problem. I should be one of those people. So should my parents. It becomes a place where I think people start off with like really good intentions, and then they just easily some people fall into becoming just parrots. They like stop researching. They get a certain point and they won't go further. They just won't. And it won't matter how much you try to prove to them and show them, like, even biblically, I've literally had people tell me that Jesus was not born Jewish. There's no such thing as Jewish. It's not in the Bible. I mean, things that I'm like, the man wore a crown of thorns that said King of the Jews. Like, enough already. Go to the oldest translation that you would like. I did it 20 years ago with microfilms at CSUN Library. When I researched the Bible, when I was hunting for God, I went to those sources because I don't believe. I'm like Peter. I don't believe. I believe, and then I don't. That was my struggle, right? I feel like sometimes I look back at prior to May 19th of 2022, and although I got saved when I was like, I don't know, 17, 18 or something, and I was baptized and all that stuff, I've looked back at my life prior to that date and truly wondered if I was ever really, truly saved, or if I still had this kind of, I don't know that I really believe that you're there and that you exist. But I will tell you that doesn't exist for me anymore. But that's because I died and I saw Christ and I saw the castle being built, and I was specifically told what to do and what was coming and what.
So you had a near death experience. People
call it that, but it wasn't near death. It was I died that night.
Right.
Was it recorded as death? I don't even know. I haven't even seen the medical records in 3 years. We had them. Right. They probably exist somewhere. I would like to go get the medical records back because I have a heart condition. And it's the reason why I started wearing this little wellness patch thing that I talked about for a little while. I've told you about it.
Yep.
But yeah, I died that night. I know that modern medicine and people call it a near-death experience. And that's fine. I have that in my bio so that people know that was a big deal for me. Like, that's why it's there, right? Because the
reason why I said it like that is I'm sure you've probably read or maybe I've seen documentaries on NDEs, and almost all of them, if not all of them, have this experience of like, oh, they either had seen God or they had seen Christ or they seen both, and they describe it in a very similar fashion, and usually it's like light, and it's not like the kind of light that I guess that we see here, but it's the kind of light that it's just blinding. Too extraordinary. Yeah, it's too blinding, too extraordinary.
It's not even a light. It's like a glimmering,
a pure energy, probably.
Sparkling, like I could close my eyes and I could see it again and then like cry. But it's like there's just light. There's just so much. It's like almost, it overwhelms your whole nervous system. It's
Yeah.
I don't know how to, so I'm going to just describe something because, and God forgive me for this, but this is the only way I know how to describe this. So I've done some different hallucinogenics and things, right? Psilocybin is actually extremely beneficial for rewiring your brain and your nervous system. And it's one of those medicines that they've lied to us about for 50 years to make us think that it's going to make us crazy, when really it'll make you very sane. And so I used psilocybin 3 years ago. That was one of the things that I used that actually cured the nerve damage I had in my pelvis. I had a condition called pudendal neuralgia. I had bilateral pudendal neuralgia, and it's just when the nerve that supplies sensation to your genitals is damaged, you have nerve pain in that area instead. And I lived with that so that's what happened to me after that lady fell on my head June 21st of 2018. And I lived with that for 3 years, and it was the most excruciatingly painful condition that I've ever had, aside from the short bout that I had with trigeminal neuralgia last year when I had a concussion. I don't know if you remember, but I hit my head and I was concussed for like 6 months. And for 4 months, I had trigeminal neuralgia on this side of my face. And I ended up microdosing psilocybin again after all the things were said and done. And that was one of the things that cured it. I don't have TN anymore. I don't have PN. And that's the reason why.
That's amazing.
And it rewired your nervous system. And when your nervous system is just shot like that and misfiring, you have reset the nervous system. And those medicines are really strong and potent and fantastic for doing that. And that's why they're finally starting to do some researching for it and stuff. But anyways, all that to say that some of the sensations, if anyone's out there and done hallucinogenics, that's how I would describe the light, is like if it's so overwhelming when you're on hallucinogens that you can't even look at it because it's just almost painful, but it feels amazing at the same time. Like when you're out in the sun, basking in the sunlight, that kind of like warm ripple, goosebumps that might spread through your body. That's literally the sensations that I remember very much feeling, not just seeing, not just hearing. And I could tell you one of the things that I never disclosed before was that one of the things that I remember really just a lot from that night was, initially I was in the bathroom and I was looking at my phone, and I had been off of Xanax for about a week or so. There was a doctor that gave it to me and I thought it was a great idea. So did he, and it was a terrible idea. Because the pneumonia that I had for like 5-6 months was making it so hard for me to breathe that was increasing the anxiety that I was experiencing. And so he thought it was a good idea to give me an anti-anxiety drug so that it could help me breathe and relax. And I
Total bad idea. Yeah.
Horrible idea. And I already had experience with Xanax like almost 15 years prior, and I actually had a grand mal seizure. Same damn thing happened, and it was in May of 2009. So anyways, fast forward to when this happened, to me, it was just instant. What I remember is being in the bathroom one moment, looking at my phone. I was really upset. My oldest daughter was very upset. We were not doing well at the time because they had moved out and whatnot. Like all the COVID stuff that happened for me in my life was really profound. All of our friends, everyone that we knew in terms of even our family, refused to speak to myself, my husband, our son, because we refused to mask and we refused to get the shot. My husband lost his job because of it. And I've never been prouder of him, because I am so glad that he didn't get sucked into how am I going to provide and how is it going to work. And he was a new believer. He's still a very new believer. And I know that a lot of people got the shot, and I don't know anybody that's thankful for it. I don't know anyone that is like, I'm so glad that I took it. Everyone I know has regretted taking it.
Yeah.
Everyone I know, literally. Everyone in my family took it. So, and they all regret it. Like, but for me, I mean, I remember that night more than I remember most of 2022. I remember remember that night, and I remember what happened when I was not here.
Mhm.
That's my biggest memory from probably almost that entire year. And that's really weird. Like, just to walk around as a person who remembers and misses a place that they've been to that isn't
Mm.
here at all.
Yeah.
They can
Right.
never go visit. It's weird. I went looking for near-death experiences and watched a lot because I was looking for someone that could, I don't know, say the same thing that the experience that I did, but I haven't
Yeah.
found it. Not, it's going to be different for everybody slightly. You know,
Like
the
to help
experience
you,
I had,
like to help explain what exactly it was that you. I mean, you know what it is though. Like I think in your heart, you know what that was.
I feel like what I saw, I mean, I remember being in the bathroom and literally
Yeah.
just sitting on the toilet and peeing, and the next thing I know, I'm in a garden with gigantic flowers. Like, I remember so well how big they were, that and how alive they were, that it was bizarre. It was
Mm.
like I was on psychedelics, but I'm not. I'm
Right.
dead. Where am I? Like, I'm in a garden and I'm dead. Am I dead? Did I die? I must have died. Like, that's really,
Being in the garden
remember
sounds
that.
very symbolic too.
Yeah, and then I
You know.
remember, and then my husband was there, and the paramedics were there in my room, and they were asking me questions that I should have known the answers to, like, what's your name and the
Mhm.
city. And I'm trying to speak, but my voice doesn't sound right. And then I went into shock, and then
Mm.
I'm in the garden again, and I'm looking around, and I look off over, and this is so weird that I can still describe it like it just happened. Like,
Mm.
over to the right, over down there, I can see a huge castle. Just, it goes on for, you can't see the top and you can't see this, but it's this corner, like, just is a castle. And
Mm.
there's gates, and there's, and mind you, like, I had read Revelation many times. I studied it. It was one of the first books I read in the New Testament was Revelation. But I don't remember all these little details about the gemstones engraved and embedded and all the different,
Mm.
the archways and the water. And it was like clear crystal, but not water either. And it's not water that we know of water. It's not, it doesn't look like that exactly, but it's water.
Mm.
And then I was in the ambulance. I remember my son, just as the paramedics were loading me onto the gurney, I guess, coming up over here on this side and giving me a kiss on the cheek and telling the paramedics that his birthday was in 2 days and I needed to bring his mommy back.
Mm.
And I remember saying, I'm coming back. I remember going down the stairs. I remember being very cold and very, very thirsty. And because we lived out in Huntington Beach at the time, I was near the ocean. It was nighttime when they came to take me. And I was probably just wearing a tank top and shorts because that's kind of my usual unless it's very cold. And so I remember being in the ambulance. Vaguely, I remember trying to tell them that I was thirsty and needed water, but I don't even know if it sounded like English words or just like, I have no idea. And then I remember in the house right before they took me down, I remember them telling me that they were going to stop my heart and to not freak out. They were like,
Whoa.
Libby, we're going to stop your heart. Try not to freak out. And I remember those words, and I remember thinking, this is very bad. Like, I just remember that weird thought. That was the only real thought. And then I'm back in a garden. I'm looking at a castle again, and I'm like, where am I? And I remember seeing Jesus, but it was not all the images that we see all over
Right.
the place. I've tried, I'm an artist, right? This is all my art stuff behind me. I've tried to draw, and I'm not a good drawer, but I can paint pretty decently. And I've tried to paint what I saw, and it's useless. There's no point. I've given up. It's been 3 years, and I've stopped trying because I can't get the colors right. I can't get the shades right. Nothing I can make can look like that. and I
Mm.
just don't even want to try to do it.
It,
So, because it doesn't exist here, it doesn't. Nothing looks like that in terms of colors, and then I already have issues with my eyes and seeing colors
mm.
the way that you see it. I don't see contrast or color or anything like you do.
Right.
So I don't know for
That's almost symbolic in its own that you're none that you wouldn't be able to get the shades right or the colors right. That's all. It's because it,
can't.
it 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 corroborates with a lot of other people's experiences where they can't even describe the colors that they're at. Like some people describe that the
New
colors that
colors
they
that don't
see in it,
exist. I don't even know
yeah,
what
that
they.
don't even exist. It does.
I
You
don't even
can't.
know what
It's
they
not even
are.
here.
I've tried. Like when I tell you I'm an artist, I've tried mixing. I could. Oh, my frustration will start to show in my body. Like I have
Right.
tried mixing so many different types of colors to
Mm.
see if I could get um, the shade of some of the greens. It's not it. Like every
It's
time I
crazy.
try,
That's wild.
it's not that the brightness is off or it's all of it. It's just none
Hmm.
of it. Like none of it's right. The blue is not the same. The nothing's the same. The way that I saw Jesus was just literally light, just a bright light, kind of a
Hmm.
figure, more like a cloak, I suppose. I
Mm.
almost wondered what I saw was the man's aura, and just it takes up all of everything.
Right.
And
Right.
then eyes. I remember the eyes. That's probably the only thing I would maybe try again to draw. I just don't want to. I want have to give it justice to do it right. Like
Right.
it wasn't these brown eyes that you see. His eyes had fire. It
Mm.
looked like flames in his eyes, but I wasn't scared. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't nervous. I've never felt so calm
Hmm.
and warm and loved. It's you could take the maybe the most warmest, fondest memory you might have of your mom,
Hmm.
or I don't know,
Something.
something in your
Right.
life that made you feel just like in a cocoon of love and warmth.
Hmm.
And there's been people and there's been places that have given me that, right? The ocean, my husband, my mom, sometimes my kids. Like, this is not like any of those
Mm.
things. Uh, it's not like
That's
any of
that
that
that's
at all.
that's so cool that you put it like that. Because right now I'm thinking of my son when you say when you're saying that, and it's so cool that he came in here and said hello.
It is. That's really cool.
He's never done that, by the way. So this is
That's awesome.
it's just, yeah, it's really awesome.
That's really, but
That's
I
kind of
don't feel like I saw that. I have to say, I want people to know, I don't feel like I saw that because I was such a great, living my life all godly and I'm in
right.
heaven. That's not why that happened to me.
No, no, yeah, sure.
That happened to me because I was going into boardrooms. I was posting, I'm me, Libby, look at me.
Hmm.
We are going to stop it. We the people and me and I
Yeah.
and me stopping this and you. And of course, I'm not even surprised. I can't believe it took that long for me to have a heart attack, honestly. I can't believe it took that long for me to get to a point where I got so sick between the stress that I put myself under. Like, I'm not a victim. I chose to do all these things and get all
Mm.
dressed up and, go to these board meetings and be this person. Like, I chose to do this. Nobody was forcing me.
Mm.
Um, but I made myself really, really sick. I neglected myself completely, completely. And that's why I ended up with pneumonia. My respiratory system was so weak that in my research, when I found out that they turned on the tower that was 150 feet away from me the same month that I
Mm.
started to feel sick, I just knew that I not only was I onto something, but that this was going somewhere way bigger than like just Libby could figure out. And
Mhm.
I think it kind of just spiraled sort of out of control. And then the Xanax and the alcohol and stuff. And I was just so depressed and I was so angry and I felt so helpless. And like I'm very human. And a lot of the things that I research, even now, sometimes like I need to kind of walk away from for a while and
Mm.
just kind kind of be alone. Like, I understand I'm in no way, shape, or form making this comparison because I'm like him, but I understand why Jesus constantly walked away and just disappeared, because he was like, I need to just be alone with God. And because I homeschool my son, and I'm, in this environment where it's hard for me to have some time to just be alone with God. So I have to figure out when to do that, right? So I don't make excuses. I just don't have it. No, I get up at 5 a.m. because I want to have that time alone with God before I do other things, but I mean, ultimately for me, at the end of that whole experience, it happened like 5 times, and it lines up with when they gave me Keppra, actually. Different times. Jesus did not speak to me. I did not hear him speak. I heard God, the Father, speak. I didn't see him, though. His voice sounded like if thunder could make words. That was the only way I could really describe it. He told me very specifically that it was robots, that it was humans and robots and iron and clay. And it was like all these different little pieces that I had no idea. Like, none of it made any sense to me, even for the first month after I came back. I found a notepad that I was doodling things in, and I was doodling 2045 and like little robot, like little box robots that looked like Rosie the Robot, like the Jetsons. Like, that's what I was kind of sketching and stuff, as my brain was healing from the Xanax use. Like, it's very serious, don't just abruptly stop if you're on them. Seek help. Find a doctor that will give you a taper dosage and taper off slow, and you can do it. You can get off. Thank God that I had a moment of clarity where I was able to just stop. I mean, I'm really grateful that.
Or even like, if you don't have to take it, don't. Because those things will, they do. I haven't had any experience with this, thank God. But I've seen people.
It's awful.
Close friends. I've seen close friends, and yeah, it is awful. It takes quite a long time, if to kind of come off of it, I guess. If they don't know what they're doing, if they're not informed enough, you know what I mean? So, and that's what a lot of people have a trouble with. They're not informed on how to wean the body off of it. But also they go into it not knowing how highly addictive that those things actually are.
Right.
So
Xanax is is the number one most prescribed drug for women.
And that's it's an antidepressant, right?
It's an anti-anxiety medication.
Anti-anxiety.
So it basically paralyzes your autonomic nervous system. Or not your autonomic nervous system. It can completely put that into just freeze, but it just freezes your parasympathetic system so that you don't feel many emotions at all. You're just numb, and you don't really feel much of anything. And then if you drink any alcohol with it at all, you just black out, and you just kind of in a blackout state. And so I'm just extremely, extremely, insanely grateful that God saw fit to let me die, to wake me up and get me to snap out of it, because I've been withdrawing when I decided to stop, I had been off of it for like 5 or 6 days, because the doctor that gave it to me refused to give me a taper dose. And I just had this moment where I knew, if I don't stop, I'm going to die. I'm going to be addicted to this, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And it'll be harder and harder and harder to stop. And he's not helping me. And I just told my husband, I'm just not going to take it. And he was like, you're going to have a heart attack. And I was like, I'm probably gonna have a heart attack, a seizure, I could die. What else can we do? And so he kind of tried to help me wean off, but of course it wasn't how you do it. And I was shaking like a leaf, like shaking, like vibrating for a while.
Well, so if I'm following right, Xanax was the culprit to cause heart attack?
They don't know what caused the SVT attack.
Wow. Huh. And it's not
the withdrawal from the Xanax is what caused the seizure. The benzo withdrawal induced grand mal seizure. The SVT attack, it one fed the other is what I would suspect and imagine. And so
too much stress, stress on the body.
Too much stress. Yeah, I think it was too much stress. And I think more than that, on a spiritual level, I think I was heartbroken. I mean, I know I was heartbroken. My daughter had moved out, and the world was closed, and all of our friends and all of our family just abandoned us. And I'm with this amazing little boy and this awesome man, but everyone else is gone, and now the work is gone, and the home's gone, and we're moving, and we're moving again, and we're moving again, and and then I meet women, and they find out about my Instagram, and then they think I'm crazy, and they don't want to be friends with me, or they find out my Instagram and think I'm some kind of demigod and treat me all weird. And it's trying to just be a person. Like, it's hard sometimes.
Right. No, for sure.
Sometimes I'm just like, it's just overwhelming and kind of, too much because there's so much going around.
No, yeah. I had seen a recent post that you put up about, and I'll say it again, stay away from the shitty comments, because, those people are just, like I said, some of those people are on the armchair and they think they're armchair revolutionaries and all that stuff. And you're supposed to be perfect, or you're supposed to have the information perfect every time. It's like you said, we are 100% human beings, and we're going to have errors. But if 90% of the stuff is correct, that 1% that slips through, and for one thing, to give you credit, also where credit's due, is that you reverted back and corrected yourself, or you said something along the lines like, I'm looking into the information to make sure that what's incorrect is incorrect and what's correct is correct. But at the end of the day, like, when people get off and they try to, we all handle things differently, but like, do not pay attention to the shitty comments, because they're just.
I'm pretty good about not letting that affect me. That particular video that I posted and then I deleted it. And I don't delete videos really. I might archive a couple of things here and there, but not really. If I post something, it's there. It's staying there. There's a reason I posted it, because I don't just post for no reason. I'm not like an everyday poster. I'm not trying to get followers. Like, it's nice to have some audience and some people that care to listen, of course. Like, otherwise I'd be talking to myself. But that's the whole point. Like, I would be talking to myself without you guys. You guys know that, right? Like, this isn't just one way. I would just be with myself over here if nobody wanted to listen. I'm really grateful to the people that want to listen and want to learn, and that let me learn from them. I don't need, and I don't ever allow people to just like talk at me or text at me or type at me, or no, I block people pretty quickly. That particular day, and I have no problem with that. I've had people actually reach out to me that were friends of somebody I blocked, and being like, you blocked him and now he can't see, and I'm trying to send, and I'm like, that's sorry.
Yeah,
like,
that's the
probably
point.
told them, don't approach me this way, or I'll block you. But there's certain things that I don't even ask questions. If people send me anything that's hate related or trying to hate me because of anything about me, I just want to let you guys know, I don't even accept those messages at all. That's why I screen stuff. I don't even, nothing. Like, you won't even know whether I read it or ignored it completely.
Right.
Because I don't bother giving any of that stuff my attention. That particular day in that particular video, and I know that the flooding in Kerrville happened in the middle of the night. Like, I'm well aware of that because I covered the actual story. And I did a good job at it, and I know I did.
You did,
so when I saw that video, I thought, this is probably not accurate. But I went to go hunt it down on the original source. And I was like, well, they're saying that they're still saying it's Hill County, but no one will. July 4th was a whole day. Like, it was a whole day. It wasn't just in the night that the rain and the flooding came. It happened in other parts during the day as well. And so I went and started looking at other images and videos. I found the same stuff, but it didn't quite line up it being on July 4th.
Right.
That was for me why I decided, after I logged back in, I posted and walked away and lived my actual life for a little bit. And I came back, and it was like the majority of the comments were, I can't believe you posted this, and you're just trying to get likes, and this is AI. This is AI. First of all, that video was not AI. It wasn't. It was an actual time-lapse speed up of a county that flooded. I do not know if it was Hill County or not. And the original person who posted it, the original source that I tracked back, was Instagram. And it was some page that is a shadow page, meaning they never show their face. They're repost page that just reposts random videos that
A
they find,
repeater, yeah. Mm-hmm.
or it's a bot. Like, I have no idea, but they turn the comments off on that video
Right.
so that nobody could say nothing.
Yeah.
And I, whatever. I mean, I know that I put a lot of work into, and I legitimize and validate the information that I put up. I know.
I mean, the evidence is there. I mean, there's floods. I think the latest flood right now is Maryland right now.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
That's getting closer to home on my end right now. But
no, where are you?
well, I'm upper northeast, so I'm the New England area. But New York had just got hit, I think, too, not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken. So that's like 4 hours away. So here's
I feel like a lot
of it. I pray that stuff doesn't happen here. You know what I mean? But
I hope to God it doesn't either. I really encourage, and I think maybe we should wrap it up soon, but I really encourage anyone who's watching. There's a couple of different sites that you can look up so that you can see what's going on, and so that you can stay on top of at least your area and really kind of see what's going on. Now, I know I live in a smart city. I'm not like delusional about it. I have no intention of staying here indefinitely, but this is where God has put us, and so this is where I'm at right now. I would suggest that people really check out the, it's c40cities.org, right? Just the letter C, the number 40, and then the word cities, CITIES.org. That's a really good place to start because it's the entire world. So all the cities worldwide that are registered to become smart cities, right? And there's a lot there that has to be done. Like, there is a lot, right. Because they have to really go from the ground up, which kind of makes sense to me. I might just be crazy, but I know I'm not. That's why there's the fires and the flood. It literally coincides. It's all the same areas. It's all the same over and over and over again. And that's why when I covered the Texas one, I was at such a loss for words that, like, I don't often put a bunch of stuff in the caption because I really want to come more from a place of just presenting hardcore evidence and leaving my feelings and opinions out of it so everyone else can just make their own decisions, right? Because I have my opinions and stuff, and I can share that with my husband and my friends. And if people ask me online, I'll share it with them. And once in a while, I might throw it in. But overall, I want it to just be instant facts. And I didn't even say anything. I have to bring this up, and then we can stop if you want.
Sure.
The Texas video that I did, I didn't even mention the Camp Mystic. I never mentioned any of that stuff, actually, at all. What I mentioned was, here's the flooding in Texas. And that was like towards the very end at some point, maybe. I'm pretty sure that the entire video was actually the Texas Smart City plans for Kerrville. There was a couple different ones that I saw. The inquiry on X about the weather modification order or whatever, and then the actual order itself. That's actually the entire video. I never even mentioned that Kerrville, Texas was flooded or anything about Camp Mystic. Everybody publicly, the public literally connected those two, not me. I just showed them the information of the smart city planning coincidentally happening in the same area that was just devastated by flooding, because rivers just rise 26 feet in 45 minutes out of nowhere, right? Like, that's not how things, happen. I would encourage people to check out my mini documentary simply because I made it, and there's so much information there about AI and Agenda 2045 and where all of the tech that you're seeing now is headed. Like, the end result of what their hope and plan and everything is 2045. Look it up.
Definitely. I didn't mean to distract you. I was trying to share, I think it was your page, and where you might be talking about some of the flooding and stuff like that, but I couldn't capture it for some reason, and I don't know why it didn't show up the way it should have. But so before we go, before we end this, is there anything that you wanted? Because I know that you had mentioned something about maybe possibly sharing something on here from your page, but I mean, if we don't have to, if you don't want to, but
you can if you want to. You can add it and add
Oh
in the
yeah,
link.
I'll probably add it in like post edits or something like that.
Yeah.
And um,
I mean, there's a
like
lot of information on my
yeah,
Instagram
you
page.
have a ton. You have a ton of
It would
information.
take people, a long time,
You just need to go to
hours
go.
and hours and hours to probably
Yeah,
watch. They're all pretty quick clips. They're all
yeah,
anywhere from a few seconds to like 90 seconds, maybe a few minutes max. There's a bunch of stuff on my subscriber feed that's a lot more in depth
in
and like
depth. Yeah.
longer videos for people that really want to know more details. Like
Hmm.
I try that if they want me to look up something specifically in research form. I've gotten really good at researching, so I'm kind of like a private investigator. I can look things up, and you'd have like a private investigator in your pocket for $5 a month.
No, yeah,
I have
for
artwork
sure.
that I sell. There's my art page. I'm an
Nice.
artist. A lot of artwork that I sell. Other than that, there's just I don't know, me, my Instagram. There's the wellness patch that I use that I think is fantastic.
Hmm.
I'm a small little commission off that for anyone who wants to try it. It's really helped me tremendously. I'm not going to bother with saying the company name or anything because I don't want your podcast to get flagged and stuff because of that company. So, but I will say that if anybody's interested in learning about the little patch I use, they could just send me a message and we could talk about it and see if it's something they want to try. It's done really well for me to help me just take control of my health again because very, very, very sick last year between concussion, post-concussion syndrome, the trigeminal neuralgia. Then I found out I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder, and I have a leaky heart valve. And I have, the issues with my corneas. So I think I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about that stuff on my feed. You'll probably see some videos about, eyes and eyesight and health and things like that a little bit more. But I more than anything, I hope, I guess, in closing, sort of that that people take the time to make themselves aware of what's going on and to read the Bible, because truly you are not going to find peace in this realm. It's not here. It's in the next, and it's with Jesus Christ. And that's everything that we're watching, from the war in Israel, the possible Abraham Shield plan taking place, the CBDC, the money transfers, the weather modification, the transhumanistic movement. It's really all biblical, truly. I see it all in Daniel chapter 2, verse 40, when it starts talking about the fourth kingdom. The fourth kingdom has never existed prior. It hasn't. The Roman Empire was the last one, the third kingdom. And so the fourth kingdom is really where I feel like we are at, with the mixing of clay and iron being transhumanism, bioconvergence.
Yep. Yeah, transhumanism is 100% a frontier, the new frontier of the so-called elite. They want to immortalize themselves in these robotic vessels. They want to transform the flesh into this, like you said, this clay to iron form.
Right. Yeah.
And
they have a whole plan
forever.
to do it. It's 2045. That's their plan. There's a manifesto. Don't just watch my documentary. Go look up 2045.com and read the manifesto. Watch the video that they have there. It's like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. I have it as part of my documentary.
Yeah, it's wild.
Because I want people to see it from the source, right? Like Whitney Webb talks about this, Sabrina Wallace talks about this a little bit, but I don't know that either of them connects it to the Bible. And that's where I feel like I try to do things a little bit differently. I respect those women a lot. I think they're amazing. I try really hard to show how a lot of this is all biblical, people.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I feel that in my heart and soul that this is all prophetic. All of this has to come to pass.
Yes, it does.
And I do think that some people who are somewhat in the spotlight to talk about things like that, they don't relate it to the prophecy, because either they're too afraid to, or they think that they're going to lose an audience. And in some way, that in itself is prophetic. You're going to lose audience by talking about these sort of things. That's supposed to happen.
Like that's one of the reasons why my social media hasn't really grown. Like there's people that have found it, and messaged me, like, you should have hundreds of thousands, and I'm like, no, thank God I don't. Thank God saw fit to like radar over here. Like, could you imagine? No,
I know.
I'm not interested really in any of that.
Mhm.
I'm really not. I think it would really freak me out. It would be nice to just be able to like pay our rent and not be super concerned, because living in LA
Yeah,
is hard to do. So, I mean, God's going to take care of all of us. I'm extremely blessed to have the life that I do, and I'm really grateful.
absolutely.
Continue to research and do what I can. My eyesight's pretty bad, and I've got to really try to figure out what to do with the left eyeball here. But
Mhm.
as long as I can see and read, I'll still be doing this stuff unless the internet kicks me off. But
God willing. God
yeah.
willing. So, lastly, everyone can reach you where? Facebook and Instagram at
So,
Lady.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Lady.Liberty.Libby, and I am planning to start up a YouTube channel again. And I
Nice.
have a bunch of my old videos that I used to have, like about health, and so I'm just trying to figure out how to kind of bring those back, because I know they were really helpful for a lot of people. And
Mhm.
since I still have them, like somehow they are in my phone in my library, I figured, I don't know, maybe this is God's way of being like, you could just put those back out there if you'd like, and
Yeah.
maybe somebody
Throw
else
'em
will learn about it, you know.
throw 'em
So,
on Rumble too, because Rumble seems to
and
be
I'm on Rumble. I
just
am on
as.
Rumble.
Oh, you are on Rumble. Okay, perfect.
I
Perfect.
am, yeah. So my documentary is on Rumble, and it's on
That's
Infowars
right. That's right. That's
fan
what I saw.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Because part 1 is pinned to my feed.
Mhm.
Part 2 is a little bit longer, so I couldn't really get it all on there.
Mhm.
But 1 and 2 are on Rumble, and they're on Infowars band video on Matt Barker's channel. He's goes by
Oh,
Slaves.
nice.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
He was
yes. I
the one
follow Matt
that, do you
Barker.
know
Yeah,
him?
yeah. I've talked to him before. I actually tried getting him on here. I'm gonna try that again. That was like about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. But
Awesome.
yeah.
He's
I
great.
follow him. He's awesome. He does a lot of good research too.
He's been asking me to go back on X, and I'm like,
I know.
don't know. I don't know about all that, really. I have to really think about it, because I don't have time for it.
Hmm.
It's gonna be just like WeChat, and I don't want to get sucked into that.
Right.
X is gonna be WeChat. It's gonna be the same. It's going to be the platform for the launch of the social credit score system, in my opinion, is going to be
Mm-hmm.
where
You're all set.
everything is right there, like the payments, the money, the everything will be. That's what he's been working on since he bought it. He bought it for that reason.
Oh yeah, he's gonna centralize it. All of that, all right there. All right. Well, listen, Libby, I appreciate your time once again for coming on to the True Perspective
absolutely.
and talking with me. And I'm glad that we were able to actually do this
Yes, me too.
on the show. And perfect. So yeah, you know, I'll keep I'll keep looking out to the information that you're looking at and the stuff you're putting out. Keep doing it, because you're doing God's work. That's what I believe. Yeah. I appreciate you, and everybody else that's tuned in to the True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Rumble, X, Instagram, Facebook. I think I got them all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Catch it on Spotify if you haven't caught it now, or rewind it all the way back, and and follow on Instagram and Facebook at Lady.Liberty.Libby. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you
Love
so
y'all.
much.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. Here we go. If you are receiving this transmission,
Is that good?
you are the resistance. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right,
This is your
great.
last
Thank you so
chance.
much.
After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say it.
I'm trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird,
Time is coming.
at a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped.
right?